Pat Sajak has presided over Wheel of Fortune, a highly seen game show in the United States, for more than 40 years. The attention of millions of viewers nationwide has been captivated by his charisma and wit. Everyone can agree that Pat has been a game show icon during his tenure here and that he will go down in history as a true legend. Pat Sajak has, alas, chosen to retire from the show not long ago, bringing an end to his illustrious 4-decade tenure on the show. Fans of the long-standing TV broadcaster have spoken out about how unhappy they are that they will miss seeing their beloved host every day. A lot of people are curious about what's going to happen next because of this. What transpired that led to his departure after such a long period? So who's stepping in as the show's new host? Come and discover the reason behind this surprising choice with us, and where the legendary game show Wheel of Fortune is headed in the years to come. Pat Sajak came into this world in Chicago, Illinois on October 26, 1946. He was born to Polish American parents on Chicago's west side, but he and his father, Leonard Sajak, as well as his paternal grandparents, were estranged. He was born into a broken home in 1956. His mother, Joyce Sajak, remarried to Walter Backel. After his father passed away in 1961, Sajak stopped hearing from his paternal relatives. He graduated in 1964 from Farragut High School, where he went to high school. After that, he took a job as a front desk receptionist at the Palmer House Hilton Hotel in Chicago and began attending Columbia College. When Sajak was a little girl, she started watching Jack Paar on The Tonight Show, and it sparked her passion in television entertainment. "I would sneak out of bed at night not to go out with the boys or grab a beer," Sajak recalled in a 2012 interview with the Hoover Institution. However, the purpose was to watch Jack's antics on The Tonight Show. In his early adult years, Sajak resembled his hero, Jack Paar. He got his start in the industry in 1966 as a radio announcer for a small station in his hometown. On WLS Radio, he appeared as a guest adolescent DJ on The Dick Biondi Show. After coming out on top in an event, his broadcasting professor at Chicago's Columbia College, Al Parker, had told him that WEDC, a local radio station, was looking for a newsman. From midnight to 6 in the morning, Sajak will be working as an employee. 2 years later, in 1967, he enlisted in the U.S. Army to serve his nation. Disc jockeying for the Army radio station in Saigon was his ultimate career path during his deployment to Vietnam. Sajak had a hard time finding work after his 1970 discharge from the Army. Afterwards, he relocated to Nashville and took a job as a TV and radio announcer for WSM, an NBC affiliate. When the regular newscasters weren't available, he would step in. Therefore, Sajak was an ideal choice to replace the departing weekend weatherman. Sajak was employed as a weatherman in 1977 by KNBC, an NBC affiliate in Los Angeles, after the station observed his amusing personality. As a result of Sajak's meteorological reporting for the West Coast's premier television station, he gained the admiration of numerous notable figures, including Jack Paar, who wrote him a letter of recommendation. Merv Griffin, who produced the game shows Jeopardy, which ran from 1964 to 1975, and Wheel of Fortune, which has been running since 1975 until now, also noticed Sajak. In 1981, Griffin persuaded NBC to employ Sajak as the host of Wheel of Fortune. Although Sajak was not first well received, the position was ultimately offered to him. He made his hosting debut on December 28, 1981, on Wheel of Fortune. The bonus round, a new feature of the game introduced that day, allowed the winner to increase their reward pool by answering one extra puzzle. Behind the scenes, Sajak was directing the participants and sharing his ideas with the audience while he was the presenter of the show. His co-host for the show has been Susan Stafford from the beginning. Standing at the letterboard, she would reveal each letter as the participants yelled them out. After Stafford left the program in 1982 to pursue a career in clinical psychology, Vanna White was cast to replace her. The New York Times made note of Sajak's status as co-host Vanna White's in 1988, when White had become an integral component of the show. Although it continued to air during the day on NBC, Wheel of Fortune went into nighttime syndication in September 1983. Its goal was to attract a wider audience. At first, though, only a handful of local stations were able to air the show due to the fact that it ran for 30 minutes and the stations needed to fill the remaining time with programming. In an effort to spice up the second half of Wheel of Fortune, Griffin suggested bringing back Jeopardy with Canadian Alex Trebek at the helm. In 1984, they put the show up for syndication. The plan was successful. By 1986, those two series had risen to the position of most-watched syndicated programs. Sajak became nationally famous through Wheel of Fortune syndication and had offers for other series as a result of the show's success. From 1984 to 1986, he was a part of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade hosting crew. Another late-night CBS show that aired from 1989 to 1990 that he was offered was The Pat Sajak Show. Although the show only ran for a short time, it featured guests such as Jack Paar, who had departed from presenting late-night television in 1965. Unfortunately for fans of the daytime Wheel of Fortune on NBC, Sajak left to anchor CBS's late-night chat show. Upon his departure, Rolf Benešky took over and Bob Guin followed in July 1989, when the show moved to CBS. But Pat was still the host of Wheel of Fortune's syndicated nighttime edition. Although Sajak could have invested in the broadcasting industry's growth in the 1990s, he chose to follow his heart instead. The Annapolis, Maryland-based AM radio station WNAV was sold to him in 1998. His commercial enterprise, Sajak Broadcasting Corporation, relied on this. His business also acquired the license for WTTR, a Westminster, Maryland AM radio station, in 2005. Sajak chose to sell both rights a few years following that acquisition. In 2013, the license for WTTR was sold for $325,000, and in 2021, the license for WNAV was sold for $1,000. On the other hand, Sajak gave WNAV $100,000 so that they could relocate from the property he was about to sell. In addition to his work in the music and television sectors, Sajak established two minor production firms, Pat Productions and Bojack Records. It would appear that Sajak's conservative beliefs are mostly reflected in his life away from Wheel of Fortune. He is not afraid to voice his honest ideas when it comes to the entertainment industry's culture and openly supports his political beliefs. By returning for a record-breaking 36th season in 2018, Sajak surpassed Barker, who had hosted The Price is Right from 1972 to 2007, as the longest-running game show host in history. On the May 8, 2019 program, Sajak received formal recognition from Guinness World Records for this. He has been recognized with numerous prizes and accolades, including the People's Choice Award in 1987 and the Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Game Show Host in 1993, 1997, and 1998, respectively, in addition to being the longest-serving game show host in American television. It was in 2011 that he received the Daytime Emmy Lifetime Achievement Award. In 1994, he was also presented with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Leslie Brown is Pat Sajak's wife, and they've been married since 1989. He wed Cheryl Sajak in 1979, and she was his first wife. Unfortunately, they only stayed married for a short time before divorcing in 1986. In 1989, Sajak tied the knot with Leslie Brown, who had a background as a model and photographer. The two have been together since their mutual acquaintances introduced them. One of their homes is in Los Angeles and the other is in Severna Park, Maryland. Leslie has hosted a Wheel of Fortune anniversary special and has appeared on the show multiple times. Pat opened up on how marrying Leslie changed his life for the better. Pat has benefited greatly from Leslie's encouragement and support in his professional life. She is a kind and supportive wife. Their union has brought joy to their family as they have raised two children. Leslie and Pat Sajak are parents of a boy called Patrick Michael James and a girl named Maggie. Patrick Michael James Sajak is a doctor who graduated from medical school in 2021. He was born in September of 1990. Maggie, a country music artist who debuted in 1995, has made appearances on both Wheel of Fortune and other game shows. While Pat was out of town, she filled in for presenter Vanna White as the show's Letter Turner. Pat Sajak enjoys doing other things in addition to being a television personality. Being a sports fanatic, he loves baseball and cheers for the Baltimore Orioles. Sajak has written essays for conservative publications in the past and enjoys writing in general. A pilot's license is something he has and something he enjoys doing in his own time. Sajak admitted that he had called a few baseball games when he was a guest broadcaster in March 2012 for a spring training match between the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Regarding his media career, Pat Sajak was a part of a brief instructional film called The Great American Constitution that is shown in the world-famous Mount Vernon estate, which belongs to George Washington. Spotlights Sajak, who portrays a journalist armed with facts and historical context regarding the Constitution. Sajak was able to combine his trademark broadcasting persona with a more informative and historical one in this capacity. Before taking on his new role, Republican Sajak contributed multiple pieces to the conservative weekly Human Events. He also has a podcast and contributes often to Ricochet.com, a website that leans right-wing. When Pat Sajak had surgery to remove a blockage from his intestines in 2019, it may have been the worst health catastrophe imaginable. Vanna White took over hosting duties for Wheel of Fortune while he was healing from this event. After recovering, Sajak returned to hosting the show, but he made it clear that he and his family needed to focus on their health because he was planning to retire shortly. Sajak loves watching the National Hockey League's Washington Capitals play. He skated out on the ice before Game 3 of the 2018 Stanley Cup Finals as a season ticket holder for the Philadelphia Flyers. Clearly, Sajak has transformed the entire game show business, not just Wheel of Fortune. He has become a cultural legend in the entertainment industry as a result of his expertise and ability to entertain both contestants and spectators via his distinct brand of humor. It is worth mentioning that Sajak was involved in other humanitarian endeavors in addition to his role as a host. This shows that he is utilizing his fame for the greater good. His impact extends far beyond his television appearances. He has demonstrated this by taking part in charitable events and advocating for important causes. Pat Sajak is a multi-talented celebrity with a net worth of over $75 million. She hosts game shows, acts, and is a television personality. He has been hosting Wheel of Fortune for a long time now, since 1981, and he is famous for it. With a yearly compensation of $15 million, he ranks among the top paid TV hosts. Only 4 days a month do Sajak and White film Wheel of Fortune. It might not seem like much effort for $15 million, but with 4 shoot days every month, you can probably guess how exhausting they can be. Keep in mind that one season of the Wheel of Fortune consists of 195 episodes. The 2021 spin-off series Celebrity Wheel of Fortune also included Sajak and White star. The Wheel of Fortune is a popular slot machine in casinos, and Sajak also makes a large amount of money by licensing his image for it. The annual royalties and license payments that Sajak receives from this deal amount to around $15 million. According to Sajak's latest statements, he will be leaving Wheel of Fortune after the 41st season. On June 12, 2023, after 41 years as host of Wheel of Fortune, the TV star shocked his followers by announcing his retirement. Sajak addressed his professional life in a brief tweet. He tweeted that the moment has arrived. I have made the decision to retire after the 41st season, which begins in September, for a number of reasons. Everything has been fantastic, and I will be writing a lot more about it in the months to come. I appreciate everyone's support. Former co-host Vanna White was among many who came forward to remember Sajak's tenure on the show. Many were curious as to whether Sajak's longtime co-anchor Vanna White would take over as host after this announcement. For almost 40 years, Vanna has been a part of Wheel of Fortune, and her smile and sophisticated manner continue to wow audiences. Despite her greater fame as the reader of those infamous letters, she has filled in for Sajak as host on occasion and demonstrated her hosting chops. Working with Pat for so many years has been an incredible blessing. As a friend and mentor, he has been invaluable to me. Taking over as host would certainly be something I'd think about if the chance presented itself, but Pat is truly irreplaceable, and it will be an enormous task to live up to his legacy, Vanna stated when asked if she would be interested in replacing Sajak. In addition, speculation has been growing over the past few years that Pat's daughter Maggie Sajak may be the next in line to host Wheel of Fortune. After seeing a sneak peek of Pat and Maggie teasing one another during a Wheel of Fortune quiz section, viewers began to wonder if the 28-year-old Maggie could take over as the show's host. Maggie made her Wheel of Fortune debut in January 2020, filling in for Pat Sajak for 1 week while she was taken to surgery. Vanna White was absent due to an illness. A social media correspondent for Wheel of Fortune was Maggie's official position upon joining the show in 2021. Viewers of the broadcast have been fixated on Pat's recent remarks on Maggie's hosting ability. Maggie played hostess for a hilarious Christmas trivia program with Pat and Vanna that aired in December 2022, during which she asked the hosts a series of easy questions about the season. The episode aired on December 27, 2022, and Pat couldn't help but comment at the conclusion about how terrific of a host his daughter was. His comment revived rumors in the media that she has been preparing to take over for Pat Sajak as host of Wheel of Fortune. Many viewers have speculated that, similar to Vanna White, Maggie could end up permanently turning the letters on Wheel of Fortune. But even though Maggie, the social media reporter, became a member of the Wheel clan in the year 2021, she made multiple appearances in the program, both as an actor and a crew member. The only significant task she has been given so far is to oversee the various social media accounts. Some, meanwhile, think that her brief appearance on the show is a stepping stone to a larger role, such as host. His retirement does not come as much of a shock to those who have been following Saj interviews over the last many years. Sajak announced his intention to leave the show in a September 2022 interview with Entertainment Tonight. "It will be another 40 years before we do this again. The end is in sight," he declared. After Sajak was asked to leave the set during taping on April 26, 2023, rumors began to circulate that he would be leaving the show. During the bonus round, Pat Sajak was also noticeably absent. Jim Thornton, a veteran of the broadcast industry, took over as host. Some viewers of the show were confused about what happened to the long-standing host and even assumed he was sick or fired. In order to spend more time with his family and escape the pressures of the program, Sajak has decided to retire. Sajak, who is now 77 years old, said that he was ready to retire, an opinion he voiced in his formal statement a year ago. On June 27, 2023, Ryan Seacrest was named the new host of Wheel of Fortune, succeeding Pat Sajak. After 41 years on the show, Sajak will retire and Seacrest will take over beginning with the 2024 to 2025 season. Seacrest, who has been on American Idol and Live with Kelly and Ryan, has inked a multi-year deal and will also be a consulting producer on the show, according to Sony Pictures Television. Sajak has spoken out in favor of Seacrest's appointment, saying that he and Vanna White can continue the show's tradition well into the 2025 to 2026 season. Wheel of Fortune, which Sajak started presenting in 1981, has reached a new era with his retirement. He and co-host Vanna White have become television icons in the United States throughout his time there. To make sure Ryan Seacrest has an easy transition into the role after Sajak retires, he will stay on as a consultant for 3 more years.